On one side, you had the Phenom, the Lord of Darkness himself, the Undertaker. On the other side, his younger brother, the Big Red Machine, the Big Red Monster, Kane. When these two came together, it was truly total destruction. Total destruction, these two heels, even though they were mostly faces for a majority of the time they teamed up, but let's just let that little bit of whitewashing go by the wayside, shall we? I'm John Renton with my review of WWE Evil, Episode 4, Brothers of Destruction. Well, not a bad episode. This one was a point where the series had hit a bit of a lull, in my opinion, because there was nothing really earth-shattering, and some of the talking heads were just weird. Now, it was cool to hear from Kane and Undertaker, and hear them give a little bit of insight as to why they decided to evolve their characters and the build to their Mania 14 match. Easily one of the best built matches in Mania history. Great story. He's alive! Hey, Kane's alive, Undertaker! There was some really... I'm not going to try to do Paul Bearer's voice, because I can't. Because nobody really can do it all that well. Maybe besides his family. But anyway, this wasn't bad, but just, I don't know, something didn't quite fully click. This wasn't the most enjoyable episode, but it was what it was. So anyway, these rivals would team up and they would just be totally unstoppable. 100% unstoppable, like Kobe Bryant. No. So, 1990 was a bit of an odd year for WWE. They needed a surprise for Survivor Series. We got to see some artwork of The Undertaker, Bruce Pritchard pitching the idea to Vince, and the pure, unadulterated evil that would be The Undertaker. And then we see a little bit of mean Mark Callis Undertaker in WCW. And he said, to be quite honest, we don't feel that anyone's ever going to pay to see you wrestle. And I believe Ole Anderson said that. Maybe a couple other people did. So he gets a call from Vince. Is this The Undertaker? Who the hell's The Undertaker? Why, yes, it's The Undertaker. We've heard this before. A lot of this stuff was told on the Last Ride mini-series that they did. And there's nothing wrong with rehashing stories. But again, since they just did the Last Ride and they've done, so much of this stuff and peeled back stuff on Undertaker and Kane, this felt much like a filler episode. It was filler, and I still barely know her. So, the concept art was cool to see. 1980s slasher films helped, bring up the inspiration. Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. And then Survivor Series 1990 debut. They completely glossed over the egg story, the gobbledygooker. No, that was Hector Guerrero, but Undertaker thought he was going to be the Eggman. Thankfully, he wasn't. He was not the Eggman, gook gook kachoo. And kids were scared. I was scared. I was 9 years old. I was scared of the goddamn Undertaker. The eye roll got over. They said, whatever you're doing, do that again. He does a choke slam, the tombstone. He was getting, big reactions. Foley talks about how his one of his young sons would not go to the shows because he was just totally scared. So I don't know who the hell Killer Mike is. Apparently he's some kind of rapper, whatever. People were legit scared of him. And, when people would come out in full gimmick, someone would get surrounded and everything, Hulk Hogan, Warrior, that kind of stuff. But Undertaker, they'd be like the parting of the sea. And then William Moody, a.k.a. Percy Pringle, Paul Bearer, he was a licensed mortician. Click. Boom. Right there. And Paul Bearer, actually, when he was Percy Pringle in World Class and he was doing some good stuff, he was cutting some really good promos. But obviously, Paul Bearer was the one that gave him the most, like, the biggest notoriety and, the biggest amount of fame. We get clips of him putting Ultimate Warrior in a casket, and then Ultimate Warrior would visit another casket in 2014. Fuck the Ultimate Warrior, I'm glad he's dead. So, Paul Bearer, he adds so much to his character. He did, because Undertaker could say a few things, Paul Bearer could cut the promos in that, oh yes voice, he could do that. And 1 year into Undertaker's WWE career, he beats Hulk Hogan with a tombstone that Hogan claimed injured his neck, but it really didn't. And then Shawn, he said he was watching him. He had one eye on Undertaker and another eye on his future. And then we go to being turned on by Paul Bearer at SummerSlam 1996 in the Boiler Room Brawl. And then we get the build, Paul Bearer had gotten his face set on fire in a match with Mankind because Paul Bearer had a line with Mankind and Vader. And then in June of 1997, he's alive! Kane's alive, Undertaker! And then the build to Bad Blood 1997, the first Hell in a Cell match. Shawn Michaels got beaten from pillar to post. That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane! He just ripped the door off its hinges! Ha ha ha! And he got tombstone, he got beat, but he wouldn't fight his brother. He would not fight his brother. But Paul Bearer says, Kane's gonna destroy everybody until you do. We're gonna take out young people, we're gonna take out old people, we're gonna take out everybody. You will fight your brother, or we will not leave a soul standing. And then we see training footage of Kane, very brief. We do see stuff from the Corey Taylor of Slipknot, I believe. The mask and stuff like that, how masks can hide the identity and make it a little bit mysterious. And then Jason Blum, or Bloom, Blumhouse, talks about masks and how masks can, be very, very eerie. The inspiration came from psychological thrillers like Silence of the Lambs, with Hannibal Lecter. Michael Myers just being pure, unadulterated evil as well. And then the Raw after Raw after Raw, pay-per-view, just anything, they built, they nurtured, they kept the storyline going. Seemed like Kane was going to come to Undertaker's rescue, but no, he decided to basically throw him in a casket and set him on fire. He decided to, beat him up, pour gas in there, and that was it. And Undertaker somehow escaped that because he's the spoopy man. And then he finally decides, okay, I'll fight you. Sends the lightning down. We do all this stuff. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening. See, Kane'S. Wait, that didn't work. Mania 14, Kane's there. And he's like, it's getting kind of intimidating here because I'm watching him come down with the Druids and all that. They had a great match. One of the best matches in Mania history, my personal opinion. Great build. Great stuff as far as like the story and the nurturing. It was really well done. But Kane laid out Undertaker after Kane had been beaten. And that led to the Inferno match, where they basically said, the ring's going to be surrounded by fire. The ropes are likely going to get lit on fire, or at least get melted, and this is going to be pretty scary. But they've carved a pretty damn good, little bit of history there doing the Inferno match. Kane's arm gets set on fire. Oh my God. And then a little bit later, Paul Bearer gets beat up. They team up as the Brothers of Destruction, and that's pretty much it right there. They had Paul Bearer be the father, by the way. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then, as they mentioned, the Attitude Era, which started in 97, technically. And I was already in the midst of them building this Undertaker-Kane storyline. And then we get the Biker Taker. He returns as Biker Taker Judgment Day 2000. My God, the carnage. Boom. Boom. He just laying people out. Great pop, by the way. And he wanted to... It's very true to life for Undertaker. He wanted to also compete as far as being good on the microphone, because he couldn't really do that as The Undertaker, but he could as Biker Taker. And then Kane unmasked a few years later, and it's theater of the mind. I wasn't a fan of him taking it off, but Kane and Vince were all on board, and then he burned JR. And then that was pretty much it. They would team up, and they would be faces, they would feud, and they would do all this stuff. But yes, as the Brothers of Destruction, they were truly evil for a little bit. And then they would flip-flop and fly and do all that stuff. Not a bad episode, but again, nothing necessarily revolutionary. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.